We're here at 1550 S Street, the Department of Corrections in Sacramento, on November 30th, 2015.
23 hours, here I am. 7 by 11, barely room to stand. I try to think of you every day, try to see your face in a room full of gray. Time is starting to erase. Tonight at 10 o'clock, it will be 120 days, 24 hours a day in the Pelican Bay shoe of being woke up every 20 to 30 minutes with loud banging, doors banging, guards stomping up and down the stairs, keys jingling, metal pipes, this guard one system metal pipe banging into next to the door.
Thousands of prisoners are being deprived of normal sleep in a policy, a draconian policy that was just recently instituted by the Department of Corrections for waking prisoners up every half hour to see if they, in fact, are alive.
When it comes to care, whether that's mental health care, or medical care, or just day-to-day care, CDC does not care. And whether they got guards stopping at people's cells every 20 to 30 minutes or not, they're not paying attention to how people are doing inside those cells. 23 hours, here I am. Only touch I feel is from my guard's glove-covered hand. It's been so long since I've felt the sun on my skin. Fear I'm losing my mind. They are trying to win, trying to bring me down.
August the 2nd was when they began this sleep deprivation. They call it a wellness check or a welfare check, but you're keeping them from sleeping, which adds to mental disorders, which adds to physical ailments. It's a countless number of things that can happen to these guys.
I have a condition called sleep apnea. I've been told by physician after physician, if I don't put my mask on that allows me to sleep during the night without stop breathing and waking up, that I could have a stroke, I could have a heart attack. There's a whole list of things that could happen to you. It seems to me that this department is creating conditions that are similar to sleep apnea. It wakes you up. It's supposed to be dangerous for you. That's what the doctors say.
If you deprive someone of sleep for many hours, and if you're woke up every 30 minutes, then you can have a lot of problems health-wise. Your body needs to regenerate, and it does this during sleep. And if you're sleep deprived, it cannot regenerate the way it's supposed to. The mind needs to sleep. If the mind does not get rest, it will begin to hallucinate. We can only take so much sleep deprivation.
There was a sleep expert recently who said, was asked if they'd ever done an experiment where they woke somebody up over and over and over and over days. And they said, we would not be able to do that experiment because it would be unethical.
Families have gone there and have been told by the same people this is happening to how they're feeling, and they're not feeling very, very well. They can't hold it together. They're falling apart. They're on the verge of possibly even suicide, the same suicide watch that this draconian policy is supposed to be. Exactly.
Look to the day when I'll see the sunrise. Feel the raindrops falling from the sky. Hold your hand, feel your embrace. Tell you a funny story, see last night.
I think it's a psychologically planned Department of Corrections act to quell resistance, protest, organizing in prison, because we got to remember that the last 3 years, America saw the biggest united mass prison hunger strikes for human rights in history here in California, especially at Pelican Bay.
Was it national?
It was national. It went national, but it began at Pelican Bay in the short corridor with prisoners who have been there since Pelican Bay first opened in 1990. These are the prisoners, the hardened prisoners, the survivors, because thousands of other prisoners have not survived that kind of environment, that kind of confinement. But these particular prisoners united, and they formed a coalition that was asking us supporters out here in Freedom Land to help their voice ring across America so that America could become aware that America, the prison systems in America, do practice torture in one form or another.
And I don't doubt for a second that it's not retaliation for lawsuits, because the CDC doesn't provide shit for mental health care, and for lawsuits against the CDC for torturing people for decades on end, for sticking people in solitary confinement for decades on end, 23 plus hours a day with no sunlight, no contact with your family for years and years. So they want to retaliate anytime there's a victory for human rights, for human rights, for human rights for prisoners, for human rights for all of us, because as long as people are locked up and suffering like that, we all are locked up. We all need to fight for people who are stuck in their torture chambers.
Taxes are paying for this shit, and we need to wake up and do something about it.
916-323-6001. That's a Secretary of the California Department of Corrections. His name's Jeffrey Beard. And I also recommend people call the governor too. You know, just
because there's something we can do about this. People don't have to tolerate this. Is that right?
That's right.
Corrections and Rehabilitation.
Hi, I'd like to speak with Jeffrey Beard, please.
Okay, hold on a minute, okay?
Okay. Yes, my name is Verbena Lee. I live in Eureka, California, and I'm calling because I want the 30-minute checks that are happening in Pelican Bay SHU and other isolation units in California to end, because it's depriving people of sleep. It is now the 119th day, and we know, and internationally everyone knows, that sleep deprivation is torture. So I'm calling because I want Secretary Beard to end those 30-minute checks. I want those to end today.
Okay, I'll note that you called and you want him to know that.
Thank you.
I have a pen pal who was in a human rights pen pal who was in Pelican Bay SHU for over 25 years. Human Rights Pen Pal program is a great way to find out what's going on inside. And we'd be happy to hook people up.
Okay. And how would they be hooked up, by the way?
It's humanrightspenpals.org.
And I hope our voices are being heard in this building. I do hope. But even if they fall flat today, maybe one person driving by heard that 120 days has gone by and no one's getting sleep in prison. It doesn't matter if someone did something wrong or they didn't. Every human being deserves to be able to sleep.
I can't sleep. I can't sleep. Knowing that they can't sleep.
More and more and more people are being swept into the system through mass incarceration. So don't wait until somebody you know, somebody in your family, is taken away, never to be heard of again, because if you ever do see them again, they're not going to be right mentally or physically once they come out of the Department of Corrections in California. Oh, hell! Stop the torture now! Stop the torture now! Stop the torture now!
Stop the torture. Shut the SHU. Let them sleep.
I can hear prisoners saying, I can't.